Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're taking a pretty dramatic turn, looking into some of the most controversial corners of wellness.
We really are. We're talking radical self-healing. We've gone through sources that mix modern holistic views with some, well, let's just say ancient and often taboo practices.
Specifically specialized fasting and certain biological therapies that you don't hear about much.
And our mission today is to pull out the functional knowledge from all this. How does the body actually manage deep detoxification and system-wide regeneration when it's put under extreme stress?
It seems like all the sources keep coming back to these four foundational pillars.
They do. It's always balanced nutrition, adequate exercise, quality sleep, and this interesting one they call emotional detoxification.
I think that last one is key because the central argument here is that the human body has this huge untapped intelligence, a self-healing brilliance that we just constantly override.
We do. And you see the results everywhere. The rise in these lifestyle-induced diseases, cardiovascular issues, diabetes, hormonal problem.
Right, things that are almost always treated just with chemicals.
And that's the big disconnect, isn't it? When you only treat the symptom, you never get to the root cause, the lifestyle choices that got you there in the first place.
So let's ground this in a real example. The sources had this case study of a stage 5E cancer patient. I mean, this person had been through everything: chemo, radiation, immunotherapy.
The whole gauntlet. And it wasn't working.
So what was the big glaring thing that the holistic practitioner noticed was missing?
Immunity. It was all about immunity. With all those advanced treatments, no one was actually focusing on supporting the patient's own immune system.
Which the sources call our first and last line of defense.
It is. It's our body's war machine, and it's running 24/7. But that war machine, well, it has this immense energy requirement.
That's a point I think most of us just completely miss.
We do. Immunity needs a staggering amount of energy. So when you're really sick or when you're fasting, your body does something very clever. It shuts down your appetite.
To save energy.
Exactly. It conserves the massive amount of energy that would just go into digestion and reroutes it straight to tissue repair and boosting the immune response. It's a brilliant evolutionary trick.
So for this patient, the first steps were actually pretty simple. They cut out all refined sugars, which we know harm the immune system.
Right, and they fixed some critical vitamin deficiencies. I think it was D3 and B12, which were rock bottom.
And the patient stabilized for a bit. But then things went south again.
Yes, and this is where the practitioner made a really unconventional choice. The patient couldn't keep food down, so instead of forcing it, they leaned into it. They imposed a controlled, beneficial stress.
Through fasting.
Through fasting. They started with a water fast, and then, well, they escalated it to a complete dry fast.
And that brings us to the heart of this deep dive, dry fasting. So that's no food and no water for a set period of time.
Correct. And the sources are very clear. There are two types. You have your soft dry fast, where you can still, shower, brush your teeth, that kind of thing.
So external contact with water is okay.
It is. But then there's the hard dry fast, which is no contact with water whatsoever. That one is highly restrictive and generally not recommended. The therapeutic focus is almost always on the soft version.
Okay, so what is actually happening in the body when you take away food and water? It sounds incredibly intense.
It's a complete metabolic switch. For the first day, maybe two, your body is just burning through its stored sugar glycogen. You feel hungry, maybe a bit cranky.
The usual.
The usual. But around day 3, that glycogen is gone. It's completely exhausted. So the body is forced to turn to its biggest and actually its cleanest fuel source, stored fat.
And this is where that myth about humans only being able to survive 3 days without water just falls apart.
It completely falls apart because when your body aggressively breaks down those fatty acids, it produces a byproduct. It's called endogenous water.
The body literally makes its own water.
It makes its own pure distilled water internally. It's how camels survive, metabolizing the fat in their humps. Our sources cite the longest recorded dry fast at 18 days, which is just mind-blowing.
So it's not just about survival, it's like a controlled internal battle.
Yeah.
You mentioned something happens around day 2 or 3, the acidotic crisis. What is that?
The acidotic crisis is basically the point of maximum acidification in the body. It's caused by this sudden flood of ketone bodies as fat burning goes into overdrive.
And how does that feel?
Awful. It's like hitting a massive wall. People feel nauseous, weak, intense headaches. It's just sheer discomfort.
That sounds more like a reason to stop, not a sign that it's working.
It feels that way, but the sources argue that getting through this phase is absolutely crucial. It's the sign that the metabolic switch is complete. The body is now running only on internal resources.
And this creates what they call a healthy competition among the cells.
Exactly. Any weak, diseased, or damaged cells that rely on easy energy, like sugar, they basically starve and die off. It's the moment your body really goes into deep repair mode.
Which leads to what we hear so much about these days, cellular housekeeping.
Autophagy, yes. It's the body's recycling system. And while any fasting triggers it, dry fasting is like a powerful, immediate trigger. Think of it as a controlled fire that sweeps through your system, cleaning up damaged proteins, bad mitochondria, and those toxic zombie cells.
And from cleanup, we move to regeneration. This is the promise of radical life extension, isn't it? Activating our own stem cells.
That's the really fascinating part. Once we're adults, most of our stem cells are just dormant, sitting in these little tissue niches waiting for an emergency.
And a fast is that emergency call.
It's the ultimate emergency call. There's research showing just 24 hours of fasting can start to reverse age-related decline in stem cell function in the gut. But for a true system-wide reboot, what one source calls the Phoenix Protocol, you need more.
A much more intense period.
A more intense period, yeah. It seems to take at least 7 days of this kind of deprivation to really stimulate enough stem cell proliferation for that deep system-wide effect.
And these are specialized stem cells we're
Yeah.
talking about, right? The ones that live in our fat tissue.
That's right. They have a very long name, multipotent, unrestricted somatic stem cells of adipose tissue.
Let's just call them specialized stem cells from fat.
Good idea. So these specialized cells get released from fat about 3 days into a dry fast, and then they just go into rapid expansion. They're pluripotent, so they can become many different kinds of tissue.
So they can repair
Why?
an aging immune system, heart muscle.
Both. They can differentiate to replace immune cells, repair heart muscle, fix vascular walls. It's a genuine system overhaul.
A lot of this research, especially for these longer fasts of up to 11 days, comes from Russian medical protocols. It sounds incredibly risky to just try this at home.
Oh, it is. It's absolutely not something to do on a whim. The doctors who pioneer this, like Filanov and Shenikov, they recommend a maximum of 5 days at home. Anything longer really needs to be under strict medical supervision.
And it's not just about not eating or drinking, is it?
No, not at all. They emphasize integrating the fast with nature things like cold water dousing, walking in cool air, and really importantly, maintaining a positive mental state. The psychological stress is huge.
Okay, we have covered extreme deprivation. Now let's pivot to something that challenges social taboos, maybe even more.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Urine therapy. We just have to acknowledge the immediate yuck factor here.
You absolutely do. The cultural conditioning is so strong, it's an immediate, visceral no. But the rationale and the sources, it's actually compelling because it forces you to rethink what urine even is.
So what do they say it is, if not waste?
They argue it's not waste at all. It's a highly complex blood filtrate. Your kidneys filter your entire blood volume hundreds of times a day. So urine contains this unique profile of hormones, antibodies, salts, minerals.
So all the things your body has already processed and filtered, but in a concentrated form.
Precisely. It's like a personalized biological report. So in practice, they split it into internal and external use. For internal use drinking it, the morning midstream urine is considered the best.
And what's the supposed benefit of that?
They claim it acts like an autovaccine. You're reintroducing tiny amounts of your own antibodies back into your system to sort of prime the immune response. It's cited for chronic conditions and just general immune strengthening.
That is a bold claim. What about using it externally?
The list is really long. Gargling with it for sore throats and gum issues, they call it a grandmother recipe from before antibiotics. Using cold compresses for arthritis, joint pain, bed sores.
So for localized inflammation.
Exactly. And because it's sterile, it's also used on warts, eczema, even for things like sunburn or jellyfish stings to neutralize the toxins.
Okay, so whether we're talking about these radical fasts or using internal filtrates, there's one thing all the sources scream about: the exit strategy.
This is the most important part. It is the absolute #1 rule. You can do everything right, but if you mess up the exit, you can do serious damage.
Especially with fasting, right?
Mhm.
They say the withdrawal from the fast brings 70% of the benefit.
It does. And rehydration is the first hurdle. It has to be slow. agonizingly slow, sip by sip, and you have to immediately add back probiotics and electrolytes.
Salts and potassium.
Critical. Otherwise, you risk rebound edema, which is this dangerous, rapid swelling and weight gain.
And then reintroducing actual food must be just as gradual.
Just as. For that cancer patient, it took 7 full days to exit a 7-day dry fast. You have to avoid sugar, bread, cereals at first. They'll cause a massive insulin spike and shock your system.
So what's a safe way to start?
Something simple. A thin broth. Steamed apple. Some of the Russian methods recommend fermented dairy, and they also suggest a powerful technique. Thorough chewing.
Just chewing your food properly.
Properly is an understatement. Chewing each bite for 30 to 40 seconds. Some yogis say 100 times. It massively improves digestion and, crucially, prevents you from binging after being deprived for so long.
So this deep dive has really shown us two very unique, very extreme paths to body renewal. On one hand, dry fasting, which uses stress to trigger this massive cellular cleanup and stem cell activation.
And on the other, urine therapy, which leverages the body's own biological material for immune support and local healing. It's quite the spectrum.
What seems to tie it all together is this perspective on aging.
Yeah, that aging isn't just about time passing. It's about the accumulation of toxins and the failure of our body to renew itself effectively. The message is that our ability to heal is massive if we just get the junk out of the way and use stress intelligently.
So periods of intense deprivation are the body's most effective reset button for cellular renewal and immune defense. What critical regenerative processes does our constant modern state of comfort and endless consumption prevent us from ever achieving? Something for you to ponder until the next deep dive.